Our way up to a comfortable seat. So coming to sit up on some height, whether it's your block or your blanket. And I do recommend for this practice having two blocks, a blanket, and potentially a cushion or something. And you'll see why as we move through our practice. So I wanted to talk this morning a little bit about compassion. I've been thinking about this in the last 2 days and how compassion is one of the qualities that I feel our culture, society in general, just desperately needs more of. And yet it seems to be a quality that is often very challenging for us to cultivate. And I think this stems from, in my opinion, this is an opinion, but I think this stems from our inability to be truly compassionate with ourselves. And so I notice when I do something that I maybe don't like or I'm maybe not 100% proud of, I behaved in a way that I later regret. I pay attention, I try to pay attention to what's my reaction to realizing that I've done something that I regret. And there's a few different reactions, obviously, that I could have, and we all have slightly different reactions to these things. But one of them is to go into that place of shame, that place of like, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. How could I behave that way, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really unproductive because it fails to recognize my humanness and our humanness and the need for compassion for the sake of ourselves and humanity. And so when I notice either myself talking to myself in that shame induced way, or sometimes I can catch myself before I go into that, which is really great when that happens, then I try to talk to myself in terms of just recognizing my humanity. And isn't that so human of me to have made this error of judgment or to have behaved in a way that I'm not proud? And instead of berating myself about it, to be compassionate to myself. And then when I'm compassionate to myself first, it's much easier to take ownership of one's actions, to take responsibility for our actions, and then to potentially apologize. And then that apology comes from a place of compassion and love as opposed to a place of shame. And I think that that's so important for how we talk to ourselves and ultimately how we interact with others. Because if we can recognize our own humanity and be compassionate in that way to ourselves, then we're going to be able to recognize others' humanity. And when other people potentially behave in ways that we don't like, we will potentially, hopefully, be able to say to ourselves, how human of them, recognizing that all of us are both perfect and imperfect at the same time. How human of us. So let's go ahead and close the eyes or soften the gaze. And I invite you to sit nice and tall. And just letting the breath flow in and out through the nose. Not trying to do anything special here, just observing and allowing ourselves to be with, to sit with our own humanity. We'll bring our hands together in front of our hearts, lengthening the spine, broadening the collarbones, opening the chest. We'll inhale here all together for the sound of a single, taking a deep breath in through the nose, and exhale to release, and inhaling for Om. And exhaling, releasing your hands, softening the muscles of the face and the forehead as you let your eyes open. And I'm going to just change my camera angle, and then we're going to begin lying on our backs. This isn't going to work for me. Give me a second. All right, so come and lie down on your back and plant your feet flat on the floor. Have one or both of your blocks close by. And we're going to just start here with some tucking of the tailbone up towards the ceiling, so pressing the lower back into the floor, and then arching and sending the tailbone towards the floor. So you'll go through that rounding and tucking, tilting of the pelvis a couple times. And then find a neutral spine. And then we're going to lift the hips up and place a block underneath the sacrum, that flat triangular bone. You could go onto one or two blocks. And just make sure you position the blocks kind of at the top of the buttocks in a spot that feels comfortable for you. So it's taking you into hip extension here. And then we're going to hug one knee at a time in towards the chest. And again, just making sure you're stable on your blocks. If you need to adjust, then bring your feet down and adjust. And then we'll hug the right knee in towards the chest and then straighten out the left leg. And then send that left leg towards the floor and then bend the knee and bring it in. And we're going to work through that a few times. So straightening the leg out, send the thigh down, bend the knee, bring it in. And just bending and then straightening. And each time you straighten the leg, I want you to think about sending it closer to the floor as you hug the right knee in. And we'll just do this a few more times, noticing sensation at the front of the hip or in the hip in general. Breathing into it, bringing this flexion and extension into the hip. Hug that right knee in. And the next time you straighten out the left leg, keep it there. And then we're going to pulse it up and down 10 times. So it's a relatively small movement, but we're forcing now the muscles at the front of the hip to engage while they're at a lengthened position. A few more here. Pulsing that left leg up and down. And then you can release that left leg, reach it out away from you towards the floor as you hug the right knee in. The right knee might be moving slightly out to the right side, that's fine. And then release your hands from the right leg and keep it where it is. So hug it in. So now we're using our muscles to keep that leg there. Take your right hand to the front of the right thigh and now press the hand and the thigh into each other. So creating a little bit more muscular engagement into that right hip. And then you can release that, bring the left knee in, and then straighten out the right leg. So now we're going to hold the left leg in, hug it in towards that left armpit, straighten out the right leg. And we'll bend and straighten the right leg. So bending the knee, bring the whole leg in towards the chest, and then straighten the leg out, send the thigh down towards the floor. Doing this several times. Maybe your joints are cracking like mine. That's not an indication that there's something wrong. It's just we're warming up the joints here. We need to get the synovial fluid moving into our joints, which we do when we move our body. And so do this bending and straightening a few more times. Hugging that left knee in a little closer each time. Okay, and then go ahead, straighten out the right leg and keep it there.
And then we're going to pulse it up and down a few times. 10 times. But breathing as you do this. Good, 2 more. And then you can relax that right leg. Keep the legs straight. Press the thigh down. Hug the left knee in. And then release the hands from the left thigh, but keep it where it is. Use your muscles to hold it there. And then take the left hand to the front of the left thigh. Press into the thigh and press back into the hand. Good. And then you can bend the right knee in. And then slowly take one foot to the floor and then the other. Lift the hips up off the blocks. Put the blocks to the side. And come back down onto the back. Good. Just take a breath there. And then we'll either roll up to sitting or roll over to one side to come up, and we'll make our way onto our hands and our knees. So having your hands out in front of your shoulders a little bit, you can take more weight into the hands. You can sit the weight a little further back towards your heels. We're going to do some wrist push-ups. So you're going to press down through the knuckles of the 8 fingers, lift the palm and the thumb off the floor and lower, and lift and lower. So a few options here. You could do one hand at a time. You could alternate side to side. You could do both hands at the same time, which will be a little bit harder. To take more weight into the hands, you just shift the body weight forwards. To make it easier, you just shift the body weight back. So you can judge for yourself how difficult you want this to be. Do a few more here, warming up these muscles of the forearm. Last one. Let's turn the hands around so the fingers are now pointing towards the knees. Palms of the hands flat on the floor. You can tuck your toes under and then slowly sit back towards your heels. So now we're stretching out the back of the wrist, and then bend your elbows as the palm of the hand lifts, working through the palm, working through the fingers. Good. And then we'll come back and we're going to do one more set of wrist push-ups. So setting it up, and again, just doing it in the way that's working for you, but we are lifting the thumb off the floor with the palm of the hand. Try not to collapse back down to the floor. Try to control the way down as much as you control the way up. Second set, those muscles might fatigue a bit more quickly. Mine are certainly very burny at this point, burning. All right, 2 more if you can. And then we'll turn the hands around so that the fingers are pointing towards the knees again. You can tuck the toes under and then start to sit back. Palms of the hands lift, then the elbows work through, palm of the hand work through the fingers. And then we'll come back up. You can come into a high kneel, give your hands a little shake. And then we're going to come back into all fours and work through some modified cat and cow. So exhale, tuck your tail. Inhale there. Exhale, hinge back towards your heels. Inhale there. And then neutral pelvis, hinge forwards. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, stay. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, stay. Exhale, neutral pelvis and shift forwards. Good. Exhale, tuck. Keep going. Inhale, stay. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, stay. Neutral pelvis and shift forwards. Let's do 2 more like this. So moving on the exhalation, pausing on the inhalation, breathing into whatever tension is there in our lower backs. Right, coming back up onto the hands and the knees, let's puff up the space between the shoulder blades and bring the shoulder blades together. So working through as full a range of motion as we can. And then we're going to try to circle the shoulder blades around. So puff it up, shoulder blades towards the ears, drop down, circle around. Puff it up, circle it around and down. So 2 more in this direction. Try to make as complete a circle as you can of the shoulder blade on the back of the rib cage. And then we're going to switch directions. That's it. And then come back up onto the hands and the knees. Now we're going to make little fingertip tents. So come up onto your fingertips. And then send your hips forwards a tiny bit so you're in a slight plank as opposed to back here. But again, if you want to make it easier, you're going to take the weight back. If you can start to bring the weight forwards, you can, or do that. And then stabilize there through the fingers, that is tented fingers. And then any amount you can, we're going to do little fingertip push-ups. You don't need to bend your elbows very far, especially if this is something you don't do on a regular basis. Here, let's do a few more. All right, one more. And then come back again into a high kneel. You can shake out your hands, your wrists, do little flicking of the fingers. All right, and then we're going to make our way towards downward facing dog. So coming back onto all fours, tucking the toes under, pressing back, lifting the hips up and back. Keep the knees bent as you lift the sitting bones high. Pushing the floor away from you. Draw your lower ribs in towards the back of your body. And go ahead, straighten out the right leg. Bend the left knee, pausing for me there. Go ahead and switch sides. One more time, either side. And then let's lift the heels up high, bend the knees, look to the hands, stepping the right foot forwards, coming down onto the left knee, untuck the left toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Holding the left wrist, lift it up, take it over to the right. Firm the belly in, puff up those lower back ribs. And then we'll come back towards center. Exhale, release the hands, reach the hands back behind you, send the breastbone forwards. And then we'll exhale, release. Take your left hand to a block on the inside of your left foot. Come up onto the fingertips of that left hand. Straighten out the left leg. Draw the thigh bones in towards the hip sockets. Inhale, peel the right arm up. And then we're going to circle that right arm around, making as complete a circle as we can, nice and slow and controlled, working through that rotation. And then let's go ahead and switch directions. And one more. And take the right hand to the inside of the right foot. You can heel toe your right foot out to the side a tiny bit. And then plant your hands on the floor. Push up the space between the shoulder blades. And now I want you to press into the fingertips and try to suction cup the palm of your hand away from the floor. And then see if you can get light on the heel of the right foot. Lift the right heel off the floor. And then sweep that right foot back and press all the way up and back to a three-legged dog. Taking the right foot down to the floor. Come forwards into a plank position and pause. And now from the toes or the knees, your choice, we're going to again puff up the space between the shoulder blades and shoulder blades together. So doing it either from a full plank or a half plank, working through that scapular push-up. And then pause in the middle. Tuck, if you aren't with the toes tucked under, go ahead, tuck under, and then lift back up and downward facing dog. And then again, come forwards to plank and pause. Taking the knees to the floor, untuck the toes. This time we'll bend the elbows. Inhale to straighten and exhale to hinge back. And we'll just work through this a few times, trying to take the shoulder blades down the back, away from the ears, broadening the collarbones. So really try to set the shoulder blade on the back of the body as you do this. So what that means is the shoulder blade is moving away from the ears And it's not lifting up and off the rib cage. It's staying firmly rooted on the rib cage. And then let's come all the way down onto the belly. Reach the arms out over the head, making yourself as long as you can. Inhale as you peel the chest open. Draw the hands back, find your W-shaped arm position. Sweep the hands back by the hips, and then butterfly to the front. And W arms, sweep them back, that's it. Butterfly to the front. 2 more. W arms, hands up, sweep them back. Butterfly to the front. Last time. W arms, sweep them back. Butterfly to the front, and release. And take a big breath here into the belly. Pressing back through a child's pose, and then up and back to downward facing dog. And bending the knees, look forwards towards the hands, stepping the left foot forwards, come down onto the right knee, untuck the right toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up, holding the right wrist lifted up, take it over to the left. Firm the belly in, try to puff up the lower back ribs. And then we'll come back up to center, release the wrist, take the arms down behind you and try to press them back. Broaden the collarbones, lift the center of the chest up, lift the gaze ever so slightly. And then we'll exhale, take the right fingertips to the block on the inside of the right foot, tuck the right toes under, straighten out the right leg. So it's not right up against the inside of the foot. It's more underneath the shoulder. Sorry if that was unclear. And then inhale, peel the left arm up. And now nice, slow and controlled circles, trying to make as big a circle as you can. Draw your thigh bones into your hip sockets as you do this. Okay, and then switching directions. One more time. And then we'll take the hands down to the inside of the foot. You can just steel toe that left foot a little bit more out to the left side. Press into the fingertips, try to suction cup the palm of the hands away from the floor, puff up the space between your shoulder blades. Get light on the left heel, and then slowly start to sweep that foot back, pause there, and then lift up and back to a 3-legged dog. Taking the left leg down, come forwards into plank and pause. Press out into the fingertips, suction cup the palms of the hands, and then we're gonna, again, try to work through this scapular push-up, either from the toes or the knees, your choice. And then lower belly lifts you up and back, downward facing dog. And then inhale, come forwards to plank and pause. Taking the knees to the floor, untuck the toes. Exhale as the elbows bend. Inhale as you straighten, and exhale as you hinge back. And we'll just work through this a few more times. Again, trying to set the shoulder blade on the back of the body. And then coming all the way down onto the belly. Reach the arms out over your head. Inhale as you peel your chest open, draw your hands back, find your W-shaped arm position. Sweep the hands back by the hips, and then butterfly to the front. And W arms, sweep them back, butterfly to the front. 2 more. Get those hands above your elbows if you can. And last one. And then we'll exhale and release. Breathing there. Pressing back through your child's pose. And then up and back to downward facing dog. Bending the knees, look towards the hands. We'll step or walk the feet forwards. Take the hands to the shins, peel the chest open, find a neutral spine. Exhale as you fold over your thighs. Good. Take a moment and turn your toes in ever so slightly so that the feet are parallel from the outer edge of the foot. The feet. Let the head release. You can give your head a little nod, yes or no. And then we're going to inhale, come all the way up to standing, arms lift, chest lifts, lengthen, look up. And exhale, samasthiti, arms by the sides. Inhale, bend your knees, sit low into a deep Utkatasana. Take the weight into the heels, stick up the butt, reach the arms up over the head, and then exhale as you hinge and fold over the thighs. Inhale, neutral spine, chest open. Exhale, step back to plank and pause. Good. Send the tailbone towards the heels. Puff up the space between the shoulder blades. Broaden your collarbones. And then we're going to slowly lower all the way to the belly from the toes or the knees, your choice. Take your time as you come down, nice and controlled. And then once you're down, point your toes. Inhale, baby cobra, lift the hands. Draw the elbows in, hands back. And then hands to the floor. Pull yourself through your arms, any amount, to a higher cobra or upward dog. And then knees down, tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. Good. Lifting the right leg up and back. Bend the right knee in towards the chest, and we're going to circle that right hip around a couple times in either direction. That's it, Peter. Trying to make as complete a circle as possible. Switching directions. Right now, shifting the body weight forwards, hug the knee into the chest, coming into a hanging plank, and pause. Press it into the fingertips, try to suction cup the palms of the hands, and then shift it back and up. Good. Open up that back hip for a moment. Reach the leg a little higher. Bend the knee, reach the foot back. And now we're going to come forwards, take the right knee to the outside of the right arm. Pause there, hug it up as high as you can, and then shift it back. Lift it up. Coming forward, step the right foot through the hands. Inhale, sweep the arms up, high lunge. Hold the left wrist, lift it up, take it over to the right. Coming back up to center, release the wrist, reach the arms back and away from you, out behind you as you send the breastbone up, maybe the gaze up. And then inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, keep the right arm up, take the left fingertips to the floor of the block as you open up. So left fingertips to the floor of the block, open up towards the right. And then exhale, take the right hand down, step back, downward facing dog. Good, heels high, lift the left leg up and back. Bend the left knee in towards the chest, and we're going to circle that left leg around a couple times in either direction. And then switching directions, making as complete a circle as you can. Shift the body weight forwards, bring the knee in towards the chest, pause there. Push the floor away, and then sweep it up and back. Open up that left hip, reach the leg a little higher. You can bend the left knee. Coming forwards, take the left knee to the outside of the left arm. Lift it up as high as you can. And then exhale as you sweep it up and back. Shifting forward, step the left foot forwards through the hands. Inhale as you sweep the arms up, high lunge. Holding the left wrist lifted up, take it over to the right. Sorry, holding the right wrist lifted up, take it over to the left. And then coming back to center, releasing that wrist, reach the arms down and back. Press the arms back behind you, send the breastbone up, lift the gaze up. Exhale there, and then on the inhalation, sweep the arms up. And then on the exhalation, the right arm comes down, the left arm stays up, and you twist to the left. And then exhale, take the hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Push the floor away, send the shoulder blades towards the ears. All right, we're gonna take a few rounds of this. Let the shoulders relax and let the head move towards the hands. The shoulders move away from the ears. And then push the hands into the floor. Feel the shoulders move towards the ears. And then soften it again. And then push, and the shoulder blades move to the ears. Good. And we'll just do a couple more like that. Working through this engagement of the muscles around the shoulder blade. Good. And then push the hands, feel the shoulder blades move to the ears, bend the knees, look forwards, and step walk or float the feet forwards. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold over the thighs. Good. Bending the knees, sit low, coming into a nice deep Utkatasana. And then press through the heels, Samasthiti, arms by the sides. Inhale, bend the knees, sit low, Utkatasana. Exhale as you hinge and fold. Inhale as you peel the chest open, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale as you step back, downward dog, holding a plank or taking a vinyasa of your choice. Good, meeting in downward dog. Lift the right leg up and back. Step the right foot forwards through your hands. Good, take your block to the outside of the right ankle. Turn the right toes out that extra centimeter. Put the left heel down on the floor. Line up, suck the thigh bones into your hip sockets. Make that back leg strong and straight. Lead with the left arm. Stand right up into Virabhadrasana 3 or Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Good, shoulders above the hips. Now I want you to extend through your wrists like you're pressing the palms of the hands away from you and really try to press out. Breathing there. Like you're trying to press either wall away from you. Bend a little deeper into that front knee, but keep sucking the thigh bone into the hip socket. One more breath. And then we'll straighten the front knee, lift the arms up. Finding the hinge from the hips, draw the right hip back as the left hip comes forwards, reaching for the front of your mat. Finding the block at whatever height works for you. Finding the rotation through the rib cage. Pausing there in your Trikonasana. Gaze is wherever it feels comfortable for the neck. And then we'll exhale, look down. Take the hands to the inside of that right foot. Heel toe the right foot out to the side. So the hands are on the floor. Push the floor away, puff up that space between the shoulder blades. Suction cup the palms. Get light on that right heel, and then see if you can sweep that right foot back and pause there for a breath. And then reach it back and up, three-legged dog. Again, taking the right foot down, lift the left leg up. Stepping the left foot forwards behind the left thumb. Taking a block to the outside of the left ankle, turn that foot out that extra centimeter, put the right heel down on the floor, suck the thigh bones in, and then leading with the right arm, stand up into Virabhadrasana B. Shoulders above the wrists. Reach out through the arms and then extend through the wrists. So you're trying to push your palms out. Breathing there, gaze is wherever it feels comfortable for the neck. One more breath. Bend a little deeper, suck the thigh bones in a little bit more. And then we'll straighten the front leg, lift the arms up. And then finding the hinge from the hips. Left hip drops back, right hip comes forwards. Finding the block at whatever height works for you. Rotating through the rib cage, stack the shoulders. Gaze is again wherever it feels comfortable for the neck. Be breathing there. And then we'll exhale, look down, Take the hands down to the inside of that left foot. Heel toe the left foot out to the side. Good. Press out into the fingertips, suction cup the palms of the hands to the best of your ability. Get light on that left heel. Sweep that left foot back. Pause there. And then sweep it up and back, downward facing dog. And take the left foot down, shifting forwards, holding plank, or taking a vinyasa of your choice. Meeting in downward dog. We're going to bend the knees, look forwards towards the hands, step walk or float through to sitting. And then we're going to come and lie down on the back. Don't worry, this is not Shavasana. All right, I want you to hug your knees into your chest. And then release your shins, but hold your legs there using your own muscles. And then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Press the palms of the hands up like you're trying to push the ceiling away. Feel the shoulder blades round on your back. And then you can tuck your chin if that feels okay, or you can leave your head on the floor. It's up to you. I want you to try to lift your butt up towards the ceiling to bring your knees in a little bit more towards your arms. Good breathing there. Two more breaths. Press up through the palms. Draw those knees in, butt up. And then we'll go ahead and release. Good. You can lift your legs up towards the ceiling. Give your legs a little shake. And then with the legs straight up, I want you to point the toes and flex, point and flex, point and flex a few times. Okay, just working this ankle a little bit here. Okay, and then pause, and now turn the foot in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Good. So you're just feeling some different muscles engaging there. Go back to the point and the flex. Point and flex relatively quickly. Just work through that. And now in and out one more time, back and forth. All right. And then hug your knees into your chest. Start to rock on your back. We're going to rock up towards sitting. And then cross the ankles, tuck the feet under, and step back to a downward facing dog. Good. So meeting in downward dog. We're going to bend our knees, look forwards towards our hands, step walk or float your feet behind your hands, shoulder distance apart or a little wider. And then you can turn your toes out slightly if you need to. If you can keep your toes pointing straight ahead, keep your toes pointing straight ahead. Bend your knees and come down into Malasana or deep squat. Now, if the heels lift or you can't get the butt all the way down, you're going to roll up your yoga mat. Or you could use your blanket, actually, where you're going to bring some support underneath the heels. And then bring your hands into a prayer position. Press out into your inner thighs. Squeeze the inner thighs onto the arms. And just see if you can bring your awareness now all the way down to the bottom of your pelvic floor. At the end of an exhalation, I want you to try to engage gently the pelvic floor and the deep abdominals. And then breathe into that engagement. Squeeze those inner thighs onto the arms. And take your hands to the floor. Keep your knees open wide here. And then hug into the side of your body. So I'm really pressing my inner thighs into my body. Reach forwards with your hands. Press into the sides of the body. And then from there, we're going to lift up all the way into a standing forward bend, where it's a very short downward dog. Now, if you had something under your heels, you can go ahead and take that out. Good. Step your feet back, come to a regular length downward dog. Bending your knees, look forwards towards your hands. Step, walk, or float your feet forwards. Inhale, lengthen neutral spine. Exhale, fold over your thighs. Check that your feet are parallel from that outer line of your foot, so it's that slight pigeon-toed look. And then we're gonna bend the knees as deep as we can. If you can come all the way down, come all the way down. And then straighten all the way back up. So your hands are on the floor out in front of you for a little bit of balance. And you're just working the knee through as full a range of motion as you can. Knee and ankle all the way down, or as low as you can get it, and then all the way back up. Good, let's do 2 more. Okay, we're gonna end with our butt down, and then lift your arms and come into Utkatasana. So you can lift your butt a little bit here, but sit back, press through the heels. And then press and stand up, Samastiti. Good, coming into a regular standing position, we're going to exhale, engage pelvic floor, deep abdominals, make a fist with your right hand, squeeze your glute muscles, and then take the left arm across the body, all the way up, open that up, reach up, reach up, reach up, circle it around, and back down. So we're trying to make as complete a circle as we can from the shoulder without letting anything else move in the body. Okay, now we're gonna switch directions. Take it back, open it up like you're swimming, front crawl, and then take it across the body and down. One more, take it back, open it up, reach, 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 reach. Take it around and then relax. You can take a little swing here. And then we're gonna do the other side. So making a fist with the left hand, squeeze the butt, engage deep abdominals, pelvic floor. And then taking the right arm across the front of the body. Reach it up, lift, 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 let the shoulder blade lift. Circle it back, around, down. Good, one more in that direction. So no movement through the torso, just movement at the shoulder. Noticing if the two sides maybe feel a bit different. And now we're gonna reverse directions. Take it back. Take it all the way around. And one more. Take it back. And all the way around. And down, good. Okay, and then you can just give some circles to the shoulders. And release, good. Coming back, Samastiti at the front of the mat. Inhale here, float the arms up. Exhale as you hinge and fold. Inhale as you lengthen neutral spine. And exhale, stepping back, downward dog, plank, or vinyasa, your choice. Bending your knees, look to your hands, step your feet forwards about halfway, and then grab one of your blocks, take your block in between your feet. You still have a good mat distance out in front of you. And then if you'd like, you can take your blanket or a cushion out in front of you if you feel nervous. If you don't know what we're doing yet, you'll find out pretty soon. And then come and stand both feet together on the block. And then bend the knees, open the knees wide. Good. Okay. So butt is low. So mobility in the hip is going to aid or make this more challenging. So if it's hard to get the butt all the way down, that's going to make it harder. But Peter, open your knees wide, knees wide, knees wide. Yeah. And then take your hands to the floor. That's it. And now squeeze the sides of the body with the legs. Good. The hands are a good 45 centimeters in front of the block. Suction cup the palms of the hands, press into the fingertips. Exhale here and engage pelvic floor deep abdominals. Look forwards to where your blanket or your cushion is. Shift the body weight forwards. And then maybe one foot lifts, maybe both feet lift. Maybe you just play with the shifting of the weight forwards into the hands and shifting back. Look forwards, Peter. Take your gaze a little further forwards. Yeah. So you can play with the shifting of the weight. I find that when I work on shifting forwards and back, I can sometimes find this moment of lightness where the feet just lift off the block, even just for a second. Good, and then let's take a little break. So step off the block and take a forward bend, but with the knees bent. We're gonna do it one more time. Hold opposite elbows, give yourself a little sway side to side. Now, I really like coming into this on the block because that gives the butt a little bit more height. But if you want to try coming into it with your feet on the floor, you can, your choice. I'm going to do it again on the block. So I like coming into it with the feet all the way together. If you want to try the feet slightly further apart, you can try. Up to you. It's good to experiment and find different things that work in different ways. Now, bring the arms in and you're creating a little shelf. So the elbow is a bit bent and the shin's gonna rest on that upper arm. And then you're gonna squeeze the upper arms in, shift the weight forwards, look where you're going. Maybe one foot lifts, maybe both feet lift. Breathing there. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Pelvic floor, deep abdominals. And then when you're ready, shift back and release. You can either come into a malasana, a deep squat if that feels good, or standing forward bend. And then we're gonna just move the props to the side, step back and come to downward facing dog. Then the knees look forwards to the hands, step, walk, or float through to sitting. And then let's come and lie down on the back. You can open the feet wide and just windshield wiper the legs side to side. And then bring your feet back in so they're about hip distance apart, so you can just touch the backs of your heels with your fingertips. And then one more time, we're gonna lift the hips up and take one or both of our blocks underneath our sacrum. So kind of into that lower back, top of the buttocks, coming into hip extension or a bit of a back bend here. Press the arms down into the floor. You can close your eyes if it feels good. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just letting the blocks start to open up a little bit, the front of the hip. Passively open it up. And go ahead and work one leg towards straight. Go ahead, work the right leg towards straight. And just notice what that does to the front of the right hip. If that's making an uncomfortable sensation in the lower back, then either take yourself to a lower height in the blocks or bend that knee back in. One more breath here. And then we'll bring that right leg in. Go ahead and take the left leg towards straight. And again, noticing the sensation at the front of the hip. And just making sure there's no discomfort in the lower back as you do this. Go ahead and bend that left knee in. You just pause there again for a breath or two. And then I'm going to invite you to try, if you'd like, to straighten both legs at the same time. Straighten one and then the other so that both become straight. And again, just noticing the front of the hip, noticing the lower back, making sure there's no discomfort in the lower back. If you're feeling good here, you could even go ahead and reach your arms up and over your head. Interlock your fingers, press up through the palms of the hands. And then we'll bend the feet back in. Take the hands back down by the sides if they were lifted. And then bring one knee in towards the chest and pause. Bring the second knee in towards the chest and pause. Make sure you're stable in the blocks. And then go ahead and straighten the legs up towards the ceiling. Knees can stay bent. So we're looking for as little muscular work as possible. Make sure you're stable on the block. So if you need to move the block slightly, bring your feet down and then move the block slightly. Go ahead. Bend the knees in towards the chest. Take one foot to the floor and then the other. Pause there, take a breath. We're going to lift the hips up off the block. The blocks to the side. Bring your hips back down to the floor. Breathing here. Take the hips to the left, take the knees to the right, taking a gentle twist through the spine. Arms can go out to the sides or over the head into a cactus shape. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then we'll slowly come back to center. Take the hips to the right, take the knees to the left. And coming back to center, hug your knees into your chest or come into a happy baby for a couple breaths. Knees towards your armpits. Slowly release the legs, straightening out the legs, taking your blanket for under your head, making your way towards Shavasana. Letting the body be heavy as you release and melt down into the floor. And taking the next few minutes to soften and release into the floor, to absorb the benefits of your practice. Letting the body just be heavy and melt down. Letting go of any tension that might be lingering.
in the body. And each breath invites you to welcome in your humanity and cultivating compassion for ourselves first and then others. Knowing if we can recognize our own humanity, we'll better be able to recognize it in others as well. In a moment, I'm going to stop the recording, but I encourage you to stay here in your Shavasana for a little longer if you can. Softening and releasing, letting go. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this morning, today. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your week and weekend, and sending the benefits of our practice out to all the beings in the world. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. And namaste.